My husband forgot to RSVP to his cousin's wedding. Now he's blaming me.
Hey, you my secretary? No, you my cousin.
Look in a mirror. My 33 female husband's 35 male cousin is getting married, and we received our invitations about 3 months ago. The invite was addressed to our entire family, and when you go online to RSVP, it lists each of our names individually. You can check off who you are RSVPing for. By the way, this comes from RSV Pissed Off on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. As soon as I received the invite, I went online to RSVP. There was a section for advice to the couple and another for song request. Smart idea. I checked all our names and filled everything out immediately. However, my husband said he needed time to think about the advice he wanted to give and the songs he wanted to request. We can't just RSVP now. We got to really think about these extra boxes, the optional boxes we got to fill in, right?
Yeah, I don't want to answer wrong.
All right, no big deal. I'll wait for him to figure it out. But later that night, I wanted to ask if we could finish the RSVP together, but he got frustrated and snapped at me like, God, no, I haven't had time to think about it. Please don't rush me.
I need time. I have a lot of thoughts. I need time for these thoughts.
I decided to leave it alone because since he can be dramatic sometimes and to pick your battles and whatnot. 3 weeks have passed by and I started to feel stressed because the RSVP, the response s'il vous plaît, deadline was approaching. Gonna rub it in their faces.
Good job, John.
Every time I asked about him, he still wasn't ready, saying that he hadn't had time to really sit down and think about it yet. Eventually, I told him I was going to RSVP for myself and the kids, and he could do his whenever he was ready. I hated the feeling of nagging him about it, and I didn't want to do it anymore. He agreed and said that he would take care of it. Well.
Yeah. He meant it in like the New York Tony Soprano way.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm going to take care of that.
What are you, the
You just threw it in the garbage.
What are you, the penguin?
Hey, damn it. Yeah, actually, yeah, kind of, a little bit.
2 weeks went by and the deadline passed. I was at his cousin's bridal shower when she said, I'm so sorry that your husband isn't coming to the wedding. I immediately realized he had forgotten RSVP.
No.
To respond, s'il vous plaît.
Response, s'il vous plaît.
I sighed and told her he probably just forgot. She looked at me a bit strangely and confused as to why I didn't RSVP for him along with the kids. I explained the situation, but it felt like she didn't really believe me.
Yeah, imagine
Is this
trying
about
to
to
explain
turn
that.
on OP? Because that would be crazy.
Yeah, and everyone thinks that she's
Oh, God.
just lying about it.
Well, later that night, my husband got a message from his cousin, the bride, asking if what I told her at the bridal shower was true. He admitted that he had forgotten to RSVP. She said that she hadn't realized it was just an oversight and assumed that he genuinely couldn't come because of his job, which sometimes requires him to travel on weekends when her wedding is. She then mentioned that since it had been over a week since the deadline, they had already submitted the numbers to the caterer and signed the contract.
Okay, but that's not a big deal. That's honestly not a big deal.
No?
You bring a lunch.
Well, what about your seat? Are you bringing a lawn chair?
Bring a lunch. I guarantee you that they can bring one more chair.
She also said she hadn't made the seating chart yet, but couldn't guarantee they could adjust the dinner arrangements at this point. I told my husband not to make her go through all that trouble because he forgot to RSVP. He insisted that he wasn't going to miss his cousin's wedding and asked why I just didn't RSVP for him if I knew he was going to miss the deadline.
Dude, no way. He said, you know I'm this incompetent. Why did you let me do that? Why did you let me, you put me in charge of mail?
Oh boy. I told him I didn't realize he had forgotten until his cousin mentioned it at the bridal shower, and by then it was too late. He still thinks I should have reminded him more and that I'm purposely being an a-hole to prove my point. Bro, you said, like, you kept getting like, oh, please stop reminding me, please. But now he's worried he'll look stupid if I go to the wedding with our kids, and without him, people start asking why he couldn't make it. So am I the a-hole? We have an update. Can we really quickly answer, is OP the a-hole or not if she goes to the wedding?
Honestly, if you knew your husband was that dumb, yeah, you are. No, of course you're not. No, of course you're not.
He is the one that messed up. How does he not understand that? Cassie O'Brien says he's an adult, right?
Right, exactly.
But there is an update where the fallout will be revealed. Maybe. So, update. I didn't realize this would get so many comments, but I've been reading through them all and want to answer a few common questions. For those saying I would have just RSVP'd and let him fill it out later, I didn't realize you could do that. When we got married 10 years ago, we didn't have a wedding website or anything like that. We had people RSVP through cards by mail. I figured that once you submitted the RSVP, that's it. You can't go back and add to it. I'm looking at the wedding website now, and whilst it doesn't allow us to RSVP anymore, it does let us edit the information in it. But again, I genuinely had no idea this was possible. If I had remembered that he hadn't RSVP'd, I would have done it myself, but I actually forgot because of the next point, which is, for those asking if he has ADHD, yes, he does, but so do I. And both of our kids, we met in an ADHD support group in college.
So I think, given that, I think I need to clarify, because I feel like it could be really easy to interpret me saying rat brain as like a besmirchment. It's more just like, I have rat brain. I'm a rat brain
What did you
individual.
say earlier? Ratatouille?
Ratatouille. Yeah, no, but it's just like, it's rat brain is like you're just doing something and then you're doing something else. And then it's like, and then you'll go over it and every memory you've ever had in your whole life is gone.
Where's the cheese?
Because you're busy getting cheese.
We need cheese.
Somewhere else.
Give it to me.
As soon as you lose sight of the cheese, it's on to the next piece of cheese.
Well, the reason I was so anxious as the deadline approached is because I know how easy it is to forget things like RSVPs when you have ADHD. And yeah, that rhymed. I reminded him every time I remembered it was due, but after we agreed he'd be responsible for his, I eventually stopped reminding him and then forgot about it completely. For those asking why his cousin just can't add one more person, she definitely can, but she made it clear to him that it would involve several extra steps and possibly an additional fee since the deposit is based on a percentage of the total. It's more about her having to deal with older people and people overseas not RSVPing than adding them last minute. She's trying to ensure her parents, the groom's parents, and immediately family members are all factored into the equation. When she checked the RSVP lists, my husband's RSVP automatically showed up as no on her end because he missed the deadline. So it's like, hey, because he didn't fill it out, the website just has it as no, and didn't realize it was an oversight. For those saying that I should have told the cousin exactly what happened, I did exactly as it happened. She didn't believe me. And for those also suggesting that I remind him that I'm not his mom, I did, and he agreed. He told me he would handle it himself. For those asking if he does this a lot or if he has other redeeming qualities and this is just a one-off thing, he has ADHD and he is so forgetful, but so am I. There are things he excels at that I struggle with. For example, my ADHD sometimes causes me to forget that I left things on or open. It could be something simple like leaving the microwave or fridge door open, or something more dangerous like leaving the stove on. This got worse for me after having kids. There are definitely a few times when he picks up my slack just as I pick up his. We both understand that sometimes we can't help it and try not to judge each other for it. He absolutely has redeeming qualities. For instance, he works from home during the week, and this is on top of the kids' school stuff and doctor's appointments. He's the primary parent for those responsibilities. That takes such a load off because he's so good at it, and our kids are his everything.
Wow. It's got to be hard to do that with ADHD when your work life, your private life, or your work life and your personal life and your family life are all taking place in the exact same area.
It's a lot.
It's
a lot. And I like I like her, you know, they're giving it up and it seems like they do have a true partnership. You know, they're helping each other with their strengths and weaknesses. I like it. Well, when we got pregnant, we made a pact to use all the attention we have, despite our attention deficit, every last ounce, to put our kids first and ourselves last. He's held up his end of that bargain. Unfortunately, I love him with all my heart, and he is a good partner most of the time. Most of the time, I'm not babying him, and he's perfectly rational, but sometimes he just has his moments. This is one of those moments. And you can have one of those moments, dare I say, a good moment, when you realize that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on our podcast. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast platform and search OK Storytime, and it'll be right there. Full episodes for you.
You know, I really like the way that you're talking right now.
I like the way that you're talking. But Dakota, before we get into, we have more of the story. I feel like this is a case of it is what it is.
Yeah.
Seems like they have a good partnership. It was an honest mistake. He has ADHD. We all have our faults.
Yeah.
We all slip up sometimes. It just happened to be a slip up with the wedding. What are your thoughts, Dakota?
It sounds like he was just wound up in that moment where it's like that. Just not even thinking about doing the RSVP right now is going to make my brain explode.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's like, just do it right now. You're like, I literally am going to curl up into a ball and stop existing if I even try to sign that RSVP right now.
It's trying
for no reason.
Trying to make the perfect playlist, you know? It's
yeah.
trying to have the perfect advice for a wedding. I mean, hey, that's tall order.
And then the rat brain probably just took over, and he just forgot. And probably thought about it at one point where it was entirely inconvenient, and he is not anywhere nearby the place where he could even do it. That's when I forget stuff like that, that's how it happens to me. It's like I'll be somewhere else, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that thing I can do that's like on the other side of town right now that I forgot to do 2 days ago. Like, I can't do it right now because I'm not there. Like, but I should do it later.
Okay, let's finish this real quick. So, for those saying I should let him go in place with the kids and take the day for myself, that's exactly what I'm going to do. For those suggesting I show him this post, I did. But even before I did, he had already apologized for snapping at me. He was frustrated and embarrassed and unfortunately took it out on me. I've done the same to him before. We both mess up. But he came to the conclusion on his own that he should have taken care of it and not blamed me. He's sorry and is making it up by buying me something expensive this week. Can't wait, lol. And we have a few quick comments. Comment number 1, not the a-hole. Why do women have to bear the burden of remembering to remind their partners to complete tasks? True facts. On top of everything else involved in managing a household, this typically is defined as nagging, quote unquote, infuriating. Comment number 2, not the a-hole. Your husband is an adult. He made a decision for himself despite the many reminders and nagging. If he can't attend, it's his fault and should own up to his mistake and not hold you accountable for it, which he did at the end. Sorry he's behaving like a man-child. I hope this is an isolated issue and not that he pushes the issue at his convenience and then blames you for his lack of self-awareness. Comment number 3, let the man baby deal with his consequences on his own. Wah. You reminded him multiple times and he was snippy about it. You're his wife, not his secretary, not his event planner. Comment number 4, what are you supposed to have done? He told you not to do it. This seems to be a situation where you cannot win. Sorry, he's a booty about stuff like this. I'm sure he has some good redeeming qualities, but this must be quite the pain in the booty.
Indeed. But look at that brilliant resolution, though.
Honestly,
she's
all's well
just
that
like, yeah, I don't know. He definitely was annoying, but I'm annoying too. And he can just take it. I'll have the day to myself, and he can go to the wedding that he wants to go to way more than me, and he'll take the kids.
As long as, and it seems like OP wasn't like if OP felt more strongly or feelings were more hurt, which, you know, hey, we all got feelings too. That's okay. But I really liked the place that we ended at. OP acknowledged his stuff. He apologized and acknowledged his stuff. And OP said, hey, take my place in the wedding so you can see your cousin and happily ever after.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great little microcosm of like